Why is it that every time we search hairstyles for women over 60, we get two options, the church lady special or the puffball of doom? We've got more style now than we did at 30, but the internet still thinks we want to look like our own grandmothers. Let's get one thing straight. Turning 60 didn't delete our personality. It gave it better lighting. And we're done with playing it safe. We want cuts that lift, brighten, and say yes. I still show up, and I look good doing it. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 common hairstyle mistakes that are sneakily making amazing women look older. And trust me, they're easier to fix than you think. No shame, no judgment. Just a few outdated habits we're all ready to ditch, and better choices that actually work with your face, not against it. And if you're new here, welcome to Elder Insights, our cheeky little corner of the internet where aging isn't a crisis. It's a comeback tour. Let's talk hair, let's talk real, and let's have a laugh while we do it. Hit that like button if you've ever left the salon thinking, did I just pay money to look tired? Mistake number 1, the long hair trap. Let's talk about the I've always had long hair mindset. Because for many of us, it's not really about style. It's about identity. It's what we wore when we felt sexy. It's what we grew out in our 20s and fought to keep through motherhood, jobs, and everything else. So no shade, I get it. But here's the hard truth. What used to look free and feminine can now start to drag our whole face down. It's not the length itself that's the villain. It's the weight. Hair thins with age. Volume vanishes. So when it just hangs, it doesn't frame. It flattens. It doesn't lift. It lengthens. And suddenly, your jawline disappears. Your cheeks seem lower, and you're wondering why your eyes look a little more tired. That's the emotional betrayal of long hair after 60. It doesn't age you because it's long. It ages you because it's lost its energy. Now, let's not swing the scissors wildly just yet. This isn't a lecture about chopping it all off. It's about shape, movement, and intention. Want to keep some length? Go for it. But add strategic layers that actually do something. Face-framing pieces, light angles, subtle volume around the crown or cheekbones. Hair that moves with your face, not just around it. Think Jane Fonda, not Rapunzel on a tired day. Here's the visual test. Pull your hair back tight. Now look at your face. If suddenly your features lift, your cheekbones pop, and your eyes look brighter, congrats. You just discovered the facelift your hair could be giving you every day. And let's be real. We've all had that moment in the mirror where we thought, why does my hair feel like a curtain I'm hiding behind? Exactly. That's not empowerment. That's camouflage. Hair should support your features, not compete with them. So next time you find yourself saying, but I've always worn it long, pause and ask, is it still working for me, or am I just used to it? Because comfort zones are great for slippers, not for hair that's supposed to make you shine. Mic drop moment? Here it is. Long hair isn't youthful. Lively hair is. Now grab your tea and let's move on to the next mistake, because things are just warming up. Mistake number 2, chasing volume with too much poof. Raise your hand if you ever used a teasing comb, Aquanet, or those giant plastic rollers from the 80s. Yeah, me too. My bangs used to defy gravity and common sense. Back then, big hair was everything. Volume equaled youth. Lift meant life. And the higher the hair, the closer to fabulous. But here's where it gets sneaky. We're still chasing that same volume, but the methods haven't aged well. Today, when we overcompensate with stiff sprays, heavy mousse, or round-brushed helmets, it doesn't give glamour. It gives time warp. Worse, all that height on top and width at the sides actually makes our face look shorter and wider. Not the goal, right? This is where the fatigue sets in. We're trying to look done, but it just ends up looking dated. You know that moment when your hair's big, but your face still feels flat? That's the mismatch. Here's the shift. Real volume now comes from strategic lightness, not bulk. Think texture over teasing. Lift without lacquer. A smart cut with invisible layers can create that soft halo of movement without the helmet vibes. And root lifting products? Great, if they're weightless and used with a light hand, not slathered like cake frosting. And let's get honest for a sec. We've all walked out of a salon thinking, why do I look like a weather woman from 1994? There's a better way. One that says, I still love a little drama, but not the kind that crackles when I turn my head. Try swapping the spray for a texturizing mist. Trade that round brush marathon for a diffuser or a Velcro roller just at the crown. You're not losing volume. You're gaining softness and shape that moves when you do. Here's the mindset upgrade. Volume isn't about height. It's about lift in the right places. The goal is upward and outward where it flatters, not all over like cotton candy. Still love your old styling tools? Fine, but use them with a modern twist. Because being over 60 doesn't mean stuck in styling routines from 1967. Here's the real glow up. When people stop saying your hair looks nice and start saying, wow, your eyes look brighter. That's when you know it's working. Stick around because the next mistake, it's one almost all of us have done with the best intentions, and it might be sabotaging your whole look. Mistake number 3, sticking to the same cut for 30 years. Here's a quiet truth no one tells you. Sometimes we're not attached to a haircut. We're attached to a time in our lives. That shoulder-length bob from 1992, it's not just a style. It's the memory of feeling pulled together when life was chaos. It's the look you had when your kids were little, or when you finally landed that job you didn't think you'd get. It felt like you, so we keep it, year after year. Maybe we update the color, maybe we add bangs, but the shape, it stays, safe, familiar, like clockwork. But here's the problem. Your life changed, your face changed, but your cut didn't. And while you were evolving beautifully, that same haircut slowly started working against you. What once looked effortless now looks flat. What once framed your face now pulls it down. The magic is gone, but we stay loyal. Let me ask you something. Would you still wear the exact same jeans from 1995 and call it timeless? Hint, if they zip up the front with a 12-inch rise and taper at the ankle, probably not. So why do we let haircuts slide? This isn't about chasing trends. It's about choosing relevance over routine. Because the I know what works mindset, sometimes it blocks us from discovering what works better. Here's a challenge. Look at your current haircut and ask, what is this doing for my face shape today? Not 10 years ago. Not when your hair had different texture or density. Now. If the answer is, I'm not sure, that's your cue. A modern cut doesn't mean edgy or extreme. It means movement, freshness, a bit of lift where you need it most, usually near the cheekbones or crown. It could be as simple as shifting the part, softening the ends, or adding a little asymmetry. And please, for the love of all that is radiant, don't let your stylist hit repeat just because you've been seeing them since Clinton was in office. Mic drop moment? Here it is. The most aging thing about your haircut might be how long you've had it. That doesn't make you outdated. It just means it's time to match your look with the woman you are now. Wiser, freer, and honestly, probably a lot more fun. Ready to shake off the rut? Good. Because up next, we're talking about a mistake that happens at the roots, literally. And it's one of the trickiest traps to spot. Mistake number 4, dyeing it too dark too often. Let's go back for a second. Remember when your first gray hair showed up? You probably grabbed the nearest box dye like it was a fire extinguisher. Not today, Silver. Because back then, gray meant old, and old meant invisible. So what did we do? We went dark. Sometimes jet dark. Because that's what young looked like in the magazines. And we kept going. Root touch-ups every 3 weeks, scalp stains. Let's break the myth. Darker is not always younger. In fact, too dark hair past a certain age can age you more because it wipes out dimension, and dimension is what makes us glow. Think about it. Kids have natural highlights. So do healthy adults. Light reflects off movement. It softens, it brightens. Flat color? It just sits there, like a heavy curtain. Now don't panic. I'm not saying go gray tomorrow, but here's the upgrade. Lighten up just a bit. Add warmth, add soft highlights. Let some of the natural gray peek through in strategic places. This isn't about letting yourself go. It's about letting go of what stopped working 5 years ago. Because let's be honest, how many of us have stood in harsh bathroom light, looked at our roots and thought, who am I kidding? Exactly. And when you do make that shift, whether it's blending, brightening, or even going beautifully silver, you'll notice something shocking. People will tell you that you look rested, like you had a nap, like your skin is glowing. They won't even realize it's the hair, but you will. Here's your mic drop. It's not the gray that ages you. It's the fight against it that does. So take a breath. Step back. And if your color routine feels more like a battle plan than a beauty ritual, it might be time for a gentler strategy. Next up, we're tackling a styling mistake that hides your best features, and it's sitting right on your forehead. Mistake number 5, avoiding bangs out of fear they'll look silly. Let's be real for a minute. Bangs have a reputation. Too young, too fussy, too risky. Or worse, too much work. And sure, we've all had a traumatic bang phase. Maybe it was uneven baby bangs in the 70s. Maybe it was that thick, straight-across fringe you ironed flat in the 80s. Guilty. So now we avoid them. We sweep, we pin, we part. Anything but revisit the bang drama. But here's what I wish more women over 60 knew. The right bangs can do more for your face than any cream in your drawer. Still skeptical? I get it. Bangs feel like a commitment, like eyelash glue or group travel. Easy to mess up, hard to undo. But here's the twist. As we age, bangs actually become more flattering. They soften forehead lines, they bring attention back to the eyes, and they break up a high or wide forehead, which, let's be honest, can feel more prominent after 60. And yet, so many of us are still saying, "Oh, I'm too old for bangs." Meanwhile, we're spending hours applying concealer to our forehead and wondering why our face feels longer. It's time for a reframing moment, pun intended. The issue isn't bangs, it's bad bangs. Bangs that are too heavy, too blunt, or too stick straight. That's the problem. The solution? Try soft, wispy bangs that move. Side-swept fringe that blends into layers. Curtain bangs that open up the face without shortening it. And let me say this clearly. Bangs don't make you look younger. They make your features feel more balanced. That's a very different kind of magic. Plus, bonus, you can skip the Botox. The right fringe covers the number 11s between your brows better than any injection. Now, I'm not here to force you into a bang transformation, but if you've been pulling your hair back and sighing at the mirror, or tilting your head trying to find your angles, bangs might be your low-commitment fix. And hey, if you try them and hate them, hair grows fast. You've survived worse. Mic drop moment? Here it is. The only thing sillier than bangs is avoiding them because of what happened in 1983. This isn't about going trendy. It's about giving your beautiful face the soft framing it deserves. Right now, in this season of life, stick with me for the conclusion, because we're not just fixing hair today. We're rewriting some very outdated rules. So what have we learned? That long hair isn't always youthful, that volume doesn't mean poof, that maybe, just maybe, the haircut we've clung to for 30 years isn't aging like fine wine. That color can brighten or bury us. And that bangs? Yep, turns out they're not the enemy. The big takeaway? You don't need a total makeover. You just need alignment. Hair that fits who you are now, not who you were when perms were a thing. Because after 60, beauty isn't about looking younger. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, "Yup, that's me, and she looks good." We're not fixing hair mistakes to chase compliments. We're doing it so our outside finally matches how sharp, fun, and alive we still feel inside. So if one of these 5 shifts sparked something, try it, book the cut, lighten the shade. Ask your stylist that question you've been too polite to bring up for years. And if you've got your own hair epiphany moment, drop it in the comments. You might just help another woman feel bold enough to try something new. Until next time, keep showing up, keep shining, and remember, aging isn't the enemy, boring hair is.